And what is up, Virginia Jets fans? This is your club president, Adam Bartolo, recording live from the studio apartment in Newport News, Virginia. So this week, week 5, it is the New York Jets hosting the Miami Dolphins. Jets come in at 2-2, Dolphins at 3-1. It is a big one, Sunday at 1 p.m. It seems to be a pattern by now, doesn't it? The NFL does not want to put the Jets in prime time if they can help it. But eventually, if this keeps up, the Jets are going to give them no choice. Let's talk about these matchups. So let's start when the Jets have the football against the Dolphins defense. So the big question is, for me, what will this offensive line look like on Sunday? Dwayne Brown, we brought him in from Seattle. He immediately hurt his shoulder. I think he probably hurt his shoulder signing the contract. I don't know when he had time to get hurt. But he is off injured reserve, meaning he has 3 weeks to come back. But the word going around today is Dwayne Brown will be active for this game. But does that mean he'll play? It's a big question. So if Dwayne Brown plays, then you can move Elijah Vera-Tucker back over to the right side of the offensive line, whether it's right guard, whether it's right tackle. There's a number of ways you could go. And if you put AVT back at right guard, at right tackle, you might have to put Connor McDermott. I know it's not the most pleasant thought in the world, but he did play relatively decently last Sunday against Pittsburgh. Now, you could also put AVT at right tackle for the first time in his career and put Nate Herbig back at right guard. He was last week's starter at right guard and did a pretty good job overall. But I do have a good feeling Brown is going to play this week, and AVT will continue to get shuffled around the line. Now, let's talk about the Miami defense. You know, their offense gets a lot of attention, but I want to talk about their defense first. This defense is allowing 403 yards per game. That is 5th worst in the NFL. Specifically, their passing game, they've allowed 299 passing yards per game. That is 2nd worst in the NFL, only to the Baltimore Ravens. Not only that, they're 27th in the league in sacks. They're not getting pressure on the quarterback unless they blitz. They have to blitz. 7 sacks this year Miami has. 1 sack out of 7 is by a defensive lineman. So they need their safeties, their linebackers to get involved in this pass rush, or it's going to be a long, long day for their defense. A couple of players I'm going to highlight. Melvin Ingram is leading the team in sacks. He's number 6, 2 sacks, 3 tackles for a loss. Now, Emmanuel Ogbah, number 91 at defensive end, got a pretty big contract to come back to Miami. So far, only 1 sack, not doing too great. Jalen Phillips, very interesting player, number 15 at linebacker. Now, his numbers are very interesting. He's got a 27% pass rush win rate, according to ESPN, meaning he can at least get pressure on the quarterback. He's tied for 4th in the NFL, right along guys such as Von Miller, Micah Parsons, Myles Garrett, Trey Hendrickson, but he's only got 1 sack. He might be beating the offensive lineman, but he's not getting to the quarterback. He's not disrupting the flow of the play. There are a lot of Miami fans I've seen who, they're very torn on Phillips. Some love him and some call him a bust already. So it'll be very interesting to see what kind of game Phillips has. Outside of that, you got to look at the secondary here. Xavier Howard, he has not been practicing at this week with a groin injury. He's their top cornerback. He did practice a little bit on Friday. Right now, it's very tentative to see if he's going to be able to play in this game. Byron Jones will be out. He has not played all year. He's their other outside cornerback. He's a big loss. Without those 2 cornerbacks, they're going to be starting like Nick Needham and Kader Kohau and Noah Igbinoghene. I had to try to pronounce that name a couple of times. The one player on their defense who I would honestly say I would fear is number 8, Javon Holland. He is a fantastic safety. He can cover. He can blitz. He can play the run. He can do absolutely anything you would want a safety to do. So whatever he's doing, if he's focused on, say, our slot wide receiver, if he's focused on a Ty Conklin at tight end, Zach Wilson, don't throw in his direction. Don't let their best player beat you. So I would say to the outside here, the Jets are 6th in the NFL with 751 yards from their wide receivers. Okay, so let's focus on the outside. Most likely it's going to be Garrett Wilson and Elijah Moore, I would think. Maybe Corey Davis, but whichever receivers are on the outside, that's where I would focus this offense. They got a pretty good run defense, Miami does. They're about 10th or 11th. Not too good, not too bad. But I think this is a game where you can work the run off of the passing attack as opposed to the other way around. So let's see how Mike LaFleur divides up the runs versus the passes in this game. All right, let's flip the script. When the Miami offense has the football against the Jets defense, well, they're going to be starting Teddy Bridgewater, their backup at quarterback. In his last 2 years as a starter with Denver and Carolina, Bridgewater has a 68% completion percentage, 33 touchdowns, 18 interceptions, sacked 62 times. He holds the ball a lot. And ever since his knee injuries, he has not exactly been a mobile threat. So what I would say, don't expect a lot of RPOs, run-pass options. Don't expect the play-action passes, which Miami usually does, because they have Tua, who's usually pretty mobile. That may not be the best idea here. We saw what happened when the Jets tried to use Joe Flacco in the play-action pass a lot. It did not work out well at all because he wasn't fast enough to create some space for himself. So looking at the line specifically, I think Quinnen Williams is going to have a pretty big game. He's going against their left guard, Liam Eichenberg. He is terrible, okay? He has allowed the second most pressures among any offensive lineman last year. This year, he's tied for the 5th most pressures allowed amongst all left guards in the NFL. Another spot on the Miami offensive line to watch is their right guard, Greg Little. He is he's tied for right tackles, 4th worst with 11 pressures allowed. He is also Pro Football Focus's lowest graded pass blocker at right tackle. So what that means is whoever's playing that right against the right tackle, typically you'll have Carl Lawson against the left tackle, which should be Terran Armstead as long as his foot is okay. Armstead's a good left tackle when healthy, very good when healthy. But on the other side, you might have Bryce Huff. You might have John Franklin Myers. You might have Jermaine Johnson. Those guys can make a difference against Mr. Little. And I also want to mention Bryce Huff. Last week, he finally played for the first time. I don't know what took this coaching staff so long, but he played 9 snaps. And on those 9 snaps, he had 3 quarterback pressures. 2 of those 3 pressures were on 3rd down. Let me see more Bryce Huff. I want to see number 47 on the field. But when it comes to the Miami Dolphins, there's really one thing that most people talk about, and it's their 1-2 punch at wide receiver. You've got Tyreek Hill, who came over from Kansas City in a very big trade this offseason, and Jalen Waddle, who they drafted last year. They are probably the best 1-2 punch in the NFL at wide receiver. Hill has been slowed this week with a quadricep injury. Their head coach, Mike McDaniel, would not commit to saying he would play or he wouldn't play, but Hill does appear to be limited in practice. So it's going to be very interesting to watch. If they don't have Tyreek Hill in this game, it's going to be very hard for Miami to do anything on offense. It really is. And Waddle is expected to be, right now he's questionable too with an injury also. So with Miami, they're going to have to do something they don't usually do. The Jets are 25th in the league in allowing passing yards in the middle of the field. Mike Gesicki, their tight end, has caught only 8 passes this year in 4 games. And Mike Gesicki usually kills the Jets. He's just kryptonite to the Jets defense. I think Bridgewater has to target Gesicki, whoever the slot receiver is, and go after them early. Make our safeties have another great game like they did against Pittsburgh. Make LaMarcus Joyner play great. Make Jordan Whitehead play great in pass coverage. That's what Miami should be doing. As far as the Miami run game, not so good. The Jets have been facing a lot of bad run teams ever since they've started with Baltimore and Cleveland. But since then, it seems like all these running backs are averaging 3 yards per run. Miami averaging 69 rushing yards per game. That's 3rd worst in the NFL. At running back, Raheem Mostert came over from San Francisco. He's got 39 rushes for 147 yards, but he can block. He does play hard, if nothing else. Chase Edmonds is going to be their 3rd down running back. He came over from Arizona. He has scored 2 touchdowns. Now, 1 or 2 other quick game notes. The main thing that I want to point out here are these teams' 3rd down defenses. They both stink. They are the second and third worst defenses, respectively, in terms of allowing opposing offenses to convert third downs. Miami has allowed 50% of third downs to be converted. The Jets have allowed 51% of third downs to be converted. So let's see which defense does a better job on third down this week. That could be pivotal. Okay, let's go to our club notes. So this week, it's going to be door prizes and 50-50. Remember, November 6th, we're doing the event at Sneaky Pete's. As of right now, it looks like that's our one event that's not going to be at AJ Gators this year for the regular season. So we'll be at Sneaky Pete's in Virginia Beach where the Tidewater Browns backers doing the chili cook-off. It's $5 to try all the chili that you can. I know there's going to be raffles and whatnot. Definitely want to see you there on November 6th. Oh, and also before that, October 30th. October 30th is going to be big when the Jets play New England. Green Bean is going to be coming back. He did his live show with us last year, so I can't wait to have him back. And also, we're doing our Halloween contest. So dress up however you'd like. We've got a special prize for whoever has the best costume. I've got it ready to go. So start thinking about your costumes for October 30th. It's going to be an exciting, exciting day. All right, well, that is your game preview. Thank you so much for watching. I can't wait to see you guys on Sunday, and go Jets!